All right. You guys are here. It's 10:30 in California, 12:30 here, 1:30 somewhere else. So we're going to get started. So thanks, everybody. I mean, it's holiday time and you're on a call and you want to know about a GPS and how to make it better or even just get one started in the right direction. Good for you. Good for you. Because what I want to share with you, because this is a critical thing to your business. And one of the things that I've learned a long time ago is that the GPS, when I first heard about it, I go, what the heck is that? And I didn't understand it. It took me a long time to understand it. And then I figured out, wow, this is the most powerful tool in goal setting that you could possibly have. So Stephanie, let's go to the next slide. All right, the next slide, and we're going to go fast through that one, is just the blah, blah about me. I worked for Dave Ramsey for 5 years. I've been a coach for over 25 years. I have had teams where we did over 100 million in volume every single year after year. And my team was not that big. And you'll see when you see the GPS that I had. The critical thing, though, for everybody to know is that I love taking complicated things and making them very simple to understand. And it took me a long time to get a grasp on the GPS. And I hope you guys like what you're going to see today. All right, Stephanie, let's go to the next slide. So some of you want to go, when you go to Keller Williams, you get this new language. And the new, Stephanie, there's one slide before that, should be slide 3. What a GPS is, not the example. Do you have that slide? I do. Steph?
No, I don't have that slide. This one I took off of maps, so I don't have that one. I don't know if they took it out by accident
No,
or
they redid it. You have the wrong one, Sid. Okay. Well, we're going to redo this a minute here. Okay, so let me tell you what a GPS is. And Rodrigo, can you go find my PowerPoint, maybe load it up, get it ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Steffi's got the wrong one. Okay. So what is a GPS? And you guys will see this on a slide. So a GPS is a prioritizing system where it's part of the productivity. So it allows for accountability and tracking. So the G is the goal, the one big goal. So that's your income goal. That's the number of properties you're going to sell. The P is identifying 3 priorities that help you achieve your one big goal. Each one supports the one big goal. So the P's are the priorities. There's only 3 priorities. They fold up to support the goal. So going to family reunion is not a priority. It's not even a strategy, okay? Because that doesn't support you getting, selling 55 homes. That's part of education, but I'm getting very clear on what are the priorities, the activities to get you to that goal, okay? The P stands for the 3 priorities that help you achieve your one big goal. Each one supports the one big goal. So the priority, so let's say you're going to sell 100 houses. The first priority is, I'm going to sell 50, I'm going to list 50 homes. I'm going to list 60 homes, sell 50. I'm going to sell 50 buyers. That's priority number 2. Number 3 is database and what you're doing with that supports the other 2 priorities. So just listen to that. And then Rodrigo?
I think it might be the next slide because I'm seeing.
Okay, go to the Stephanie, go to the next slide. Maybe this is out of order. Let me look at the next slide. Sorry, guys. Did not get this right. Steph, next slide. All right, let me just keep talking until, okay. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, all right, so they're out of order a little bit, but we'll go back to that other one. All right, so this is a GPS. We talked about that, the priority system. Each strategy has a design plan on how to achieve the strategy. So for example, priority number 2, sell 24 have 24 buyer sales. Strategy 1, hold 24 open houses. 24 leads will get you 10 buyers sold. Now that's a strategy 1. Strategy 2 could be, calling just listed and just sold. Strategy 3 could be, doing circle prospecting, whatever it happens to be. So you'll see one coming up and you'll see how the plan designs out. But listen to strategy 1. Hold 24 open houses, get 24 leads, 1 from each open house, and 10 buyers sold. So that's a low average, but that's just something that says, okay, here's my benchmark for getting 10 buyers sold. Open house plan. Now, here's the plan on the strategy: 2 open houses per month, door knock 100 doors before the open house, do a social media post, email all buyer leads with an invite, call all current active buyers with an invite, call all attendees from the open house on Sunday night to set an appointment. So if you didn't set an appointment, then you're going to set an appointment then at the open house. You're going to call them that night. You don't wait till Monday or Tuesday to look for them. So that's strategy 1 with the plan under the strategy. So all strategies have to have a plan on how you're going to do that. So I always love the one thing quote: what is one thing that I can do? By doing so, everything else will be easier and unnecessary. The GPS done correctly will give you clarity each day to the goal, the 3 priorities, and the strategy to achieve. So what's your one thing today? So maybe your one thing today is you listen to this call and now you're going to work on your GPS. And so again, remember, it's the goal, it's the priorities, the 3 that support it. And then the next one is the strategies. And a strategy has to have a plan underneath it. You can't just say, I'm going to sell 24 buyer sales, and strategy 1, hold 24 open houses. What's the plan underneath that that can keep you accountable? Because this is where the accountability and the tracking of success is when you look at the definition of a GPS. Okay, Stephanie, go to the next slide. Let's see what you have. Stephanie sometimes has trouble with her internet, apparently. Okay, all right. Okay, so
I see it.
okay, so you saw a picture earlier of the entire GPS. Okay, so we're going to go to the goal. This was my personal one that Stephanie on this call has been with me for almost 14 years now, that we achieved on the team that I had. And you'll hear how this works. Okay, so on this one, our goal was to close 225 homes. I lived in San Diego, and it was to produce 3.2 million in income. All right. Aaron and Monica, he was also a listing specialist with me. We went on appointments together. He went on 1,000 appointments with me before I turned him loose, and then he was better than me. So we would do this together. We wanted to close 158. We need to take 180. These are the strategies, and this is what we had to do. This was our responsibility. So we needed to increase the past client COI referrals by 7%, resulting in 47.4 transactions. That was going to be 30% there, okay, of what we were to do. Now, when you look at that, how was I going to do that? There was a plan underneath that where we were calling past clients and getting referrals. Even the current clients, we were working hard to get a referral from each one of those. Strategy 2, gain 15.8 transactions from out-of-area agent referrals. How was I going to do that? Well, we had an agent referral database that we emailed once a quarter. We had certain agents in different locations like LA, Oregon, Arizona, that would give us referrals. And so we were staying in touch with them monthly. All right. Now, so we had the plans underneath each one of these. Strategy 3, gained 47.4 transactions from radio and television. We spent a lot of money on radio and television. And then, so we had our plan on how we responded to them, etc. Strategy 4, increased just listed, just sold prospecting by 14%, resulting in 23 transactions. So every time we listed a home, we would make sure that we either door knocked or we called at least 100 homes around the just listed and then on the just sold when it happened. Okay. All right. So when you go to the next slide, this should be what our priority number 2 is. So priority number 2 is Peggy and Lacey to close 67 buyer sales. Those were the 2 buyer agents. So on my team, there was only 2 buyer agents and myself and Aaron. And we usually went on all the listing appointments together. He called it driving Miss Daisy. You find that funny? I don't. Okay. So how do we do that? How do they get, 67 buyer sales. So this is it. Strategy 1, gain 22.5 past clients, center of influence referrals at 38%. So they had the same plan. They had to call their past clients. They had to ask their current clients, for in their center of influence for referrals. And they were to come up with 25 transactions between the two of them. 100 open houses resulting in 18 transactions. Okay, so they each committed to doing an open house every single week. And every single week, sometimes they did two, like a Saturday or Sunday. Or sometimes they did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When we had a hot listing, we wouldn't look at offers until Monday, and we did 3 open houses there consecutively. Strategy number 3, internet advertising. So they got all the internet leads in their conversion. They had to do 13 transactions from the conversion. Yes, the recording, everything will be available on Maps, and Rodrigo will put it on there. It's got Maps YouTube channel. Strategy 4, gain 2.68 transactions from radio advertising. Sometimes we get a buyer, sometimes the seller was a buyer, so they were working through that too. Door knocking for open house resulting in 7 transactions. So prior to an open house, either on a Friday or Saturday, they'd go door knock 100 doors. So again, when you hear Aaron and I are door knocking, they're door knocking, we're all door knocking. And yes, we hit the same door sometimes, but what the heck? We had a plan, and they had a goal to sell 67 homes. Each one of them had a commitment to sell, 33, 34 homes each. And that's how that worked. Okay, next let's go to the next slide. Okay, so Stephanie, where's priority 3?
Let's see if they put it next, shall I?
Yeah, you can. That's not priority 3, but go ahead. Nope, it's not there. So you don't have the updated version. Rodrigo, is there any way to pump the new one in here?
That's the same one I have, Monica. Sorry.
Boy,
I got it right
have
off
the
their
right
website.
one. Can you imagine? Okay. Wow. Okay, so this is a problem. So Rodrigo, I'm going to send this to you right now, and then if you could pump it on there, would that be okay? Sorry, guys, this normally doesn't happen. I should have checked the slides myself, but that's the way it goes sometimes. All right. So I'm going to send this to you, Rodrigo, right now. And Stephanie, I'll send it to you also. And this is the one that I have and the one that Carlos sent me. All right, so let me tell you what slide number 3, priority number 3 is. And so if you look at 1 and 2, and then we're going to make sure Rodrigo's going to put this correct slides up here in a minute. So then you're going to have the correct slides with this recording, because these slides are, I don't even know where these came from. So we'll figure that out later. So what I want you to hear is priority 1 and 2 roll up into the transactions. Now on my team, we had a what I'm trying to say. We had a ISA team, okay? And so on the ISA team, which was really important to hear, is that on priority 3, the ISA team was to increase a certain number of contacts, which would result in what we were looking for. And so priority 3, and you'll get the copy of that one. And that basically said, strategy 1, call the entire database, 4,575 people by the end of the first quarter, resulting in 25 transactions. Number 2, strategy 2 was email entire database with market updates monthly, resulting in 7 transactions. So we were going to do a monthly update, and that was going to result in that. Strategy 3 was to create this ongoing with client appreciation parties and things like that we were doing, and promotions. And then so strategy 3 was promotion. Strategy 4 is to hold 4 client appreciation events, which would result in 24 transactions. All these are going to fold up into past client center of influence that we were all working. And then to hold 2 educational seminars that they were responsible for filling in. So you can see that on the worksheet right there. So then the next one I'm afraid to ask. Hey, you guys, give us some grace. I'm sorry. This is not, what's the next slide, Stephanie? Surprise me. Should be the
I'm almost
I'm using the
almost
one you
there,
just said
Monica.
now, Monica.
Okay, you got the new slide in?
Mhm.
Is a new one in?
Yes.
Okay, go to the next slide, Rodrigo. So that's priority 2. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, so here's your GPS business plan template. The priority 3 is on that original slide, which you guys will all get. So thanks, Rodrigo, for putting this in. This is the GPS plan worksheet. And all of these are available, of course, on KW Connect. If not, you can email me at monica@kw.com. All right, let's go to the buyer one. This one's a little bit different. So remember, everything rolls up. Okay, so on this particular one, and it's hard to read, but don't move this. This is all we have on this one. 24 buyer transactions closed, and they're going to do 18 referrals, and the income was going to be $133,000. Okay. Now, on this one, I allowed the buyer agent to have a priority 3 of improving skills, which supports 1 and 2. So if you look at the strategies, memorize the buyer presentation. That needs to have under that strategy, what is the plan? By January 30th, record it every single month on a Zoom call so you can see how you're doing it. You know, there's what are the plans underneath having that buyer presentation? With the value propositions now and making sure that the buyers understand where the cooperative compensation is coming from, you got to be really clear on these buyer presentations. Weekly role play of market objections. Okay, that's critical. That's strategy number 2. Number 3 is record the buyer presentation once a month. I mentioned that. Number 4, under this strategy, to have 24 transactions, hold 36 open houses. Now, when you look at that, it's in parentheses, it's 15 buyers, okay, would be sold. And then the last one is 100 contacts per week, just listed, just sold, is 9. So this person is going to get their leads from open houses and just listed and just sold. So when you have a team, if you listen to me right now, I didn't say anything about team leads. That's going to be the gap that gets filled in, or that's going to be the gravy and the bonus. Maybe I give them 10 leads that they convert and then they're over their goal. I make sure every buyer agent has their goal that they're responsible for and not relying on the team. The team can give them some leads, sure, but I want them to be specific what they're going to do. So that is really critical, okay? The next one is 18 referrals. Okay, so you guys listen to the call. We'll get the referral stuff done in a minute. Just listen to the call because I'm going to ask some questions of you, Pam. Okay. All right. Priority number 2, 18 referrals. So how is this person going to get 18 referrals? From their current clients, they have 24. So why can't they get them from there? Why can't they get them from an open house? They're going to memorize the promise conversation. Most of you should know what the promise conversation is. Promise conversation, it says during our time together, basically, I want to deliver on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10 plus. I want to deliver a 10 plus. And so on that, when we're doing that, you know, when you say that and you're saying that to the buyer, you're also saying, we know it's real estate and it's people. I'll do everything to make this a great experience for you. All I'm asking is during our time together, could you think of one person who's thinking about buying or selling? So make sure if you have a team that you have the buyer agents doing this correctly, that they are asking for referrals from everyone. If you ask 100 people, you'll get 4. If you ask a current client and delivering a 10 plus experience to them, and that's your commitment, you will get a referral from them. Ever decided to buy a white car, like a Tahoe or something, and all of a sudden that's all you see on the road are white Tahoes? The same thing when somebody goes to buy or sell a house, they're going to run into other people doing the same thing. So if you look at strategy number 2, priority 2, ask each client for a referral 3 times during the buyer and closing process, which would ultimately end up in 6 conversations. You will get something in 6 conversations. Most buyer agents never ask once. 99% never ask once. What if you ask 6 times? Okay. Identify 12 best client supporters and take them to lunch once a year. Should result in 6 referrals. Now that can be buyer referrals, seller referrals that they're giving to the listing team. All right. Door knock 1,000 homes after buyer sale in neighborhood. So door knock 1,000 homes. It's not going to be one day you're doing that. So it's over the course of 1 year, which is a measurable, which is accountable. So if they're going to do 24 open houses, basically it's 50 doors or less. So it's 1,000 homes, which will result in 6 listing referrals. So when they're door knocking that many doors, if they just door knock 50 doors prior to an open house or even after an open house, they're going to find something. And then add 200 people to database, friends, family, church, workout, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so those are the 2 priorities that fold up into the goal for a buyer agent. The priority number 3 is okay for a buyer agent to have improving skills. When you're building a team priority, the team goal rather, those priorities all have to support the goal. Individual ones, you can have improving skills. And that could be reading a business book once a month, going to family reunion and mega camp. Those are commitments. Memorize the open house conversation and role play weekly. Really good one to do. Learn the objection handlers and role play them. Read 1 business book per month. Watch 3 training videos on KW Connect per month. Review marketing statistics. And that's a really key one. So if I asked your buyer agents or yourself right now, tell me the top 5 lending programs are out there. I'm going to buy a house that's X amount of dollars. What's the top 5 lending programs? What's a 3-1 buy down? What's a 2-1 buy down? What are the arms at right now? How many of you could answer? You must have your lender give you this information every single Monday, what the market is doing, what the latest rates are. They seem to be changing a little bit here and there, so stay on top of it. Teach your buyer agents to do that. I've asked a lot of buyer agents on teams that I coach, what is the current interest rate if I want to buy a house at say 400,000, what's the best rate that I can get? What are my other options? And they go, well, you'll need to talk to a lender. No. You're the guru of information. You need to step your game up and you need to know all of that. Conversion rates, I don't know what you mean on that, Mindy, so put more in there. So the conversion rates, well, I guess if you had docked 1,000 doors and you found 6 listing referrals, that's not a high conversion rate. I don't put high conversion rates in there, hoping that people will do more, so it's not daunting. How do you determine those numbers? Well, hopefully you have some basis for open houses. So in my world, I knew that if we did 4 open houses, we'd get 2 buyers. And to me, that's a crummy conversion. It should be, you do 4 open houses, you get 4 buyers and you get 2 listing leads. So that's the way I look at it. Every open house has to produce at least 1 listing lead and 1 buyer. And that's how we look at open houses with what we do to make that happen. So if you let's go to the next slide. Okay. So on the next slide here is the GPS 135, a different way that it's written. There's several different versions out there that you can get on KW Connect, or you can email me at Monica@KW and we'll get it to you also. So what I want to have you here, and Rodrigo, could you go back up to the very top slide? Because we kind of had a mess today. Go up to the slide, the GPS. There, nope, go back, go, stop, no, go back to next one. There, that one. Okay, so here's what I want you to hear. So when we were talking, and I showed you the one slide that we have now, what is a GPS? It's a prioritizing system, which is a part of productivity. It allows for accountability and tracking success. The G establishes the goal. The P sets up the priorities that fold up into the goal. The S, basically, that is the strategies, and each one of those have to have a plan. You just can't put it out there that you're going to go to 24 open houses. What is the result? Who is going to be in charge of that? Is that you? You know, I mean, as far as doing that. So if you have a team, you got to have names assigned to it and how many they're going to do. You can't just say, we're going to hold open houses. We're going to door knock. How many, when, how much? So for example, on that buyer one, They're going to door knock 1,000 doors. That's like 50 doors in open house. Big deal. That'll take like 2 hours. Big deal. But they're going to run into people. They're going to talk to people. They're going to create conversations. They're going to create hopefully relationships. And then when it's sold, they'll go back out there. And sometimes when there's multiple offers, or the home sold quickly, or we have other buyers that are interested. Who do you know in the neighborhood who's thinking about moving? What about you? Blah, blah. Okay, so when you look at this, you can see that I was responsible for the listings. Peggy and Lacey were responsible for the buyers. The third one is the ISAs were responsible for getting the client appreciation party, organizing any kind of seminars that we were doing, emailing the database, and calling it. Those were their responsibilities, which fed up into what we were doing. Okay. All right. If you could go all the way now down, Rodrigo, to the very bottom slide, let me talk to you about the perfect real estate assistant. So I know how to break things down very easily that are very complicated. So when you join the perfect real estate assistant, the first call is for agents, and the second and third call are for assistants only. You get 450 page of a policy and procedures manual, which is really important in building your business. Systems are the most important thing that you can build. People kind of come and go, but your systems have to be there. And so that's an important part. Now, I'm going to go to Janet Johnson here in a minute. So go to the next slide. Janet, I'm going to ask you what you learned today. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I do also a millionaire real estate boot camp. I have the book here, and this one is 650 pages long. And there's 21 playbooks for every system. But the PRIA class, which is online, that's a live class, is just the same pretty much. And it's just really, really good for you to consider either one of those. Those will be in the slide. We have dates on the March and the June, and that'll be also available to you. All right, so take that down, Rodrigo. Let me talk to Janet Johnson. So Janet, respectful of everybody's time here, what did you hear that you didn't have on yours?
Basically, for each strategy, having a plan for each. Some of them I threw in, like for instance, add 2 METs a month at Chamber, Senior Networking, Girl Scouts, Packer Backers, and listed them all. I can break that down and put it into real activities so that I know if I've done, the work to get those 10.
Yeah, for sure.
And so forth.
Yeah. No, the key thing is that hey, Ken Schroeder, I just saw you there. Ken's been to 2-day boot camp 3 times, so you're my graduate there. You're great. Yeah. So what I wanted you to hear, Janet, is that each priority. So what are your 3 priorities on yours? One is listings, one is buyers.
Well, now I've got my MET database, 5 transactions. Priority 2 is agent to agent referrals, 2 transactions.
Okay.
And then I've got new business, and that breaks into FSBOs, open houses, etc.
Okay, but each one of those have to have a number next to it with a plan with the strategy, right?
Right.
Okay, those aren't bad. Those are good, because what she did was, those are good because each one of the priorities supported the goal. So priorities support the goal. The only priority when you look at the buyer agent one is working on their skills. Well, that's real important too. And so when you're doing that, that's important also, but it's not really supporting the goal. Like where is this number of transactions going to come from? Okay. Does that make sense, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Catherine Rain, what'd you learn today? You should know this already.
I learned that I need to be really more specific because I have this all in my head, but I need to write it down. And I need to have one for Jessica. I need to have one for the business, and I need to have one for my private life.
Yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So you need one for yourself, one for the team, and one for Jessica. So, but then again, and then we had this question earlier, what do you do with it? Well, you don't write it and then put it in a drawer 3 weeks later. So I'll tell you a fun story. Guy named Bob Kuiper sold 100 houses year after year after year after year. And he sold it with 1,000 people in his database, and he had 100 of his rock star clients. And he would take them out for lunch once a year, either Tuesday or Thursday, and he, had a different person. Then he had 3 or 4 client appreciation parties, which were VIP parties. And he did extremely well doing this. Here's what he did. He took his GPS, two-hole punched it, laminated it, and then he put it in the shower and he would read it, sing it every single morning. He also had it posted at his office, and then he also posted it in his home office where his kids could see, his wife could see, and they're always saying, well, how's this going? And so you want to build that accountability. So some of you might want to just post it on your mirror where you get ready in the morning or where you get ready. Just put it somewhere where you're going to be accountable for it. Then you build your 411 from that. So when you looked at mine, I had to sell 158 listings per month, which averaged at least 15 listings. So I knew that I had to put 4 listings under contract, take 4 listings every single week, and then that would reach my goal. And so you've got to know your numbers. What are you accountable for each week? All right. How about David Briscoe? What'd you learn today about GPS you didn't know before?
Well, the gap for me has been, it's easy to set your goal, but then not be the specificity there. How are you going to get there? So it's a big thing I'll work on to make sure that I have those exact numbers and how I'm going to get there. That's very important.
Exactly, David. And I was privy. I mean, I'll raise my hand. I set these big goals and I'd write all this flowery stuff and it looked really nice and good, but it didn't keep me accountable. So when you put a number and a name next to everything, so Catherine, when you put a number and a name extra everything, then they're accountable for that. So
Well,
if somebody's going to do 24 open houses, they better be doing 2 a month for sure. Yes, sir.
yeah, so I've been real faithful with the 411 and doing this every week, but it lacks the specificity that the GPS would provide if I was referring back to the GPS every time I tweak this 411.
Yeah, real estate's not that hard, guys. It really isn't. It's the world's best, greatest secret. You can make all the money you want, but you have to have a plan like David said. And now David understands too. He's put the 2 and 2 together. Then when you look at your 411 and you look at what you need to achieve that week, then you go back to your GPS to make sure you're tracking. And that's how it works. It's brilliant what Gary Keller's put together. And yet sometimes it's difficult to understand. It took me many years, I should say, before I finally went, oh, I get this now. I get how this is supposed to work. And so we had people on my team that were assigned. When you look at Peggy and Lacey, they had to do 67 deals. I don't care how they did it. And then they had their own individual GPSs, but this was the GPS for the team on that. Okay, any questions, Stephanie, that you saw in the chat box real quick that I need to handle?
Can I ask a question?
Anybody? Yes, go ahead. Ask a question real quick. Go ahead.
Monica, I really enjoyed this and I haven't done a GPS yet, so I'm looking forward to doing this. Do you do this once a year? Is this like a year-end thing and then the 411 is every week? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Martin, since you're new to the deal, my email's Monica@KW. Do yours, send it to me, and I'll critique it for you so you do it correctly. You're going to do it at the end of the year, okay? And you're going to look at basically your numbers this year. And if you saw in mine, I even put numbers of how much we were going to increase by 7%, 14%. So I had to still do the same things, but I had to do 7% more or 14% more. So you look at your benchmark of where you're at. Good question, Martin. And your benchmark is this, and you want to go to this, then you're going to increase your past client referrals this amount. You're going to increase your agent referrals this amount. You're going to increase your door knocking or your calling your database this amount. So you're going to take that and increase it. So now you've got the percentages of what you're going to increase. So good point. Okay, good point.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. So hopefully, thank you for giving us some grace. We kind of had the wrong PowerPoint, but it's now correct in the slide. So you guys will see that. And so I really appreciate everyone being on the call today. Happy holidays. If you need anything, it's monica@kw.com. If you want to come to any of the programs, I know that I've got quite a few in here that have been to the 2-day boot camp. I appreciate that. Hey, guys, have a great 2024. Go to family reunion. I'll see you there. Have a great one. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Stephanie, Rodrigo. Bye-bye.
Bye.